Good morning. Welcome to the forecast discussion for November 14th, 2012. It is currently 8:16 a.m. and we are 1 week and 1 day away from Turkey Day, Thanksgiving. And currently, right now, we're looking at pretty cold but tranquil weather conditions. Temperatures range anywhere from the lower to mid 30s over the northern interior to the mid 30s to even a few lower 40s along the immediate coast. Atlantic City is a very cold spot at 33 degrees with a dew point 26. One thing is for sure, we have clear skies over much of the region, a few scattered clouds over portions of Connecticut and eastern Long Island. And we have a north to northwesterly wind ranging anywhere from 5 to 15 miles per hour. And that wind, combined with temperatures basically holding anywhere from the mid to upper 40s over the interior and upper 40s to around 50 degrees along the coast, will lead to a wind chill generally in the upper 30s to lower 40s throughout the day. So definitely have your coat handy with you for today as we deal with some chilly weather conditions. Taking a look at the latest infrared satellite picture, you can see high pressure is in full control, a rather strong one at that, providing clear skies for most locations. Again, this is right here. You see this cold front that moved through yesterday. It's starting to hang up over the western Atlantic. And that's going to be a very interesting feature to watch over the next several days, especially as we head towards Thanksgiving. Again, here's that disturbance I was talking about yesterday. Again, this disturbance will not impact the northern Mid-Atlantic, but it's important to keep an eye on how these disturbances that continue to develop over the Caribbean and lift northeast interact with these polar cold fronts. This time it's not going to create a storm for us. Next time, we may not be so lucky. So it's just something to keep an eye on to see how these two features interact over the next several days. But for us, high pressure is in control with tranquil weather conditions expected. Taking a look at the water vapor satellite picture again, you can see these two disturbances starting to interact over the northern mid-Atlantic, over the New York City and Philadelphia metropolitan area. We have a lot of black and red on the satellite picture, and that means sinking dry air. So we really don't have to worry about any type of precipitation over the next several days. This is a disturbance that is weakening. Notice a lot of the energy is focused more towards the Gulf Coast and southeast. That again is going to be a very important feature to look at over the next several days, and why I differ with the mild guidance seen on the GFS and leaning more towards the European mild guidance because of these observations here. Remember, if there's sinking air, there has to be rising air. And if we see a focus of sinking air over the Gulf Coast, that means we're seeing a focus of rising air and thus low pressure over the Gulf Coast and not towards the Mid-Atlantic at this time. Taking a look at the radar, again, I just want to show over much of the eastern two-thirds of the United States, dry conditions are in place. Here's our disturbance that's moving through the Gulf Coast and the southern plains and the southern Mississippi River Valley. We have a few scattered showers, and there's a few scattered showers off of the east coast. But over much of the eastern United States, dry conditions remain. Now, again, I'm not using the GFS model guidance, and that's probably why you're seeing on your local news station the threat for rain on Monday and Tuesday. I'm keeping those days dry. I'm going to show you why. Here we are for this evening. Here's our disturbance over the southeast. Not much of a reflection at the surface. High pressure is clearly in control. Dry conditions can be expected. We are looking at a very nice day setting up, as long as you have a nice winter coat ready for you, as temperatures will remain slightly below normal for this time of year. Now, moving forward into Thursday, you can see a focus more towards the southeast coast with these disturbances here. High pressure continues to remain in control. Plenty of dry air is in place. Notice the Pacific pattern here is more what we call progressive, west to east. We're not seeing a huge ridge or a huge trough, more of a west to east type pattern. And that's important because that means any disturbance that tries to develop along the east coast is eventually kicked out into the Atlantic, or at least the western Atlantic, away from the northern mid-Atlantic, because we're dealing with one disturbance after the other moving into the west coast. So think of it kind of like a train. Well, if you have one train after the other moving into each other, well, everything ahead of that other train is going to move to the east. So you really can't get a strong storm or any type of precipitation organizing along the mid-Atlantic coast, at least through Monday. Let's just say that. Through at least Monday, we're going to be dealing with high pressure and control, tranquil weather conditions, dry weather conditions, and temperatures generally ranging from the upper 40s to lower 50s over the interior and lower to mid 50s along the coast. Again, pretty much near to slightly below normal for this time of year in terms of temperatures, nothing extreme either way. Again, high pressure is in control through Monday. Here we are, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. Now, we have this disturbance trying to develop over the coastal waters of the southeast. For now, because we have a progressive pattern, I think this is going to stay a little bit further out in the Atlantic. This storm has got to be watched, especially as we head towards the middle of the week. And the reason why is that even though I don't think at this time it's going to have a direct impact on the northern mid-Atlantic, at least through Tuesday, I do think Wednesday and Thanksgiving is going to be very interesting to keep an eye on with this storm. As you see this interaction here with this trough and this trough, potentially pulling this storm closer to the coast and basically driving it right into the northern mid-Atlantic. You get this high pressure system blocking everything up. If you're saying this looks very familiar, that's because it does look very familiar to what we saw with the same upper level setup with Sandy. I'm not saying it's anything like the storm like we saw with Sandy. I'm not saying that at all. But the upper level setup is very similar. And this type of pulling mechanism is similar. So it's something to keep an eye on, that this storm, as it intensifies over the western Atlantic, is pulled back towards the coast and brings rain to the northern mid-Atlantic and towards New England by the time we get into Thanksgiving and maybe the day after Thanksgiving. Something to keep an eye on as we move forward. Regardless, this storm is going to have a major impact on our weather pattern, which I discussed in the premium discussions, that could lead to much colder weather conditions as we head towards the first week of December. Again, a little hint there. But for right now, again, I do not think that we need to go into the details of this storm yet. There's a lot to be discussed. There's a lot to be found out here. We haven't even got the disturbances on the playing field, so to speak. That would be the North American continent, so we can properly sample these disturbances. So right now, beware that Thanksgiving could be a little bit stormy, but we don't know a lot of the details yet. So we'll have to wait and see how that plays out. Again, I just want to also point out that we are having a winter weather workshop, and proceeds go to the Red Cross. For $20, if you pay now, $30 at the door, we're going to have a conference December 1st, one at Perkasie, Pennsylvania, between 10 and 11:30 a.m., and another one in Butler, New Jersey, between 3 and 4:30 p.m. Sign up now, get your proceeds to the Red Cross, and you also get an afternoon or morning of fun with questions, answers, discussion on the winter weather pattern coming up, and also if you have any questions about how to look at models or anything of that sort. It's going to be a fun day for sure for anyone interested in meteorology. And, pretty basic stuff too. We're not going to start throwing out calculus at you, don't worry. So definitely, check it out, and please join us and, help us raise some money for the Red Cross. Well, that is your weather discussion for today. Of course, I'm your meteorologist, Stephen DiMartino. You can follow the latest weather information at nynjpaweather.com and nynjpaweather on Twitter and Facebook. Have a wonderful day. Stay safe out there.